began at Girls' Modern Academy, followed by her attendance at the esteemed Queen's College, Yaba. Her passion for journalism was evident earlier on, as she cultivated a love for reading during her childhood. She was an eager learner who found joy in her studies. In 1963, she earned a school certificate from Queen's College, Yaba, and went on to achieve a higher school certificate in 1965. In alignment with her passions, Doyinsola was accepted into the esteemed University of Ibadan, where she earned a combined honors Bachelor of Arts degree in English and Drama in 1969. Throughout her academic pursuits, Doyinsola skillfully balanced her personal enthusiasm for storytelling. As a new graduate, Doyinsola launched her career as Daily Sketch on October 8, 1969, as a women's editor. She quickly established herself as a daring and insightful journalist who tackled significant social and gender issues through her column, Zero. In 1970, eager to enhance her journalistic abilities, she made the courageous choice to enroll in a Masters of Arts program in journalism and mass communications at the University of Wisconsin. She sustained strong family ties during her studies abroad. After completing a master's degree on June 3, 1972, she returned to Nigeria and served as a features editor at the Daily Times of Nigeria Limited from 1973 to 1975. Once more, Doyinsola set her sights on the highest achievements in her field and took the bold initiative to pursue a PhD in mass communications at the State University of New York. Notably, her doctoral dissertation was titled "The Nigerian Press Under Military Rule," a topic she would later address practically beyond her theoretical studies in her professional journey. After earning her doctorate in 1979, Doyinsola returned to the Daily Times as an editorial writer. In 1980, she became an editor at Concord Press of Nigeria Limited from its inception, a role that had never been occupied by a woman in Nigeria. Doyinsola's connection with Chief Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola, the publisher of Concord Press, evolved from a professional relationship into marriage in 1981. Interestingly, her marriage allowed her to adopt her middle name, Abiola, which she was given at birth, as her last name. Thanks to her progressive editorial policies, the National Concord started to rise in prominence, leading to her appointment as editor-in-chief in 1982. In 1984, Doyinsola welcomed her only child, whom her husband, Chief Abiola, named Doyinsola in honor of her mother. Even as she embraced motherhood, Doyinsola seamlessly balanced her personal responsibilities with her professional ambitions. Her exceptional work performance resulted in her being appointed as Managing Director, Editor-in-Chief of the Concord Group of Newspapers in 1985. She made history once again at the time of her appointment as the first female Editor-in-Chief and Managing Director of a newspaper in Nigeria. That same year, she also became the first female Nigerian Eisenhower Fellow, showcasing her dedication to fostering a more peaceful, prosperous, and just world. Doyinsola was a daring innovator who boldly defied conventions. She was the driving force behind the launch of Weekend Concord, Nigeria's first Saturday newspaper. This publication eventually became the best-selling newspaper in Nigeria during its time. Her courage was also apparent in her commitment to publishing truthful stories, regardless of the repercussions under military governance. After the annulment of her husband's presidential elections in 1993, Doyinsola actively supported the movement for democracy in Nigeria by leveraging her extensive international network and ensuring that Concord remained a respected voice of dissent. Under her guidance, Concord Press and its journalists faced repeated repercussions for delivering accurate reports that highlighted the grim realities of life under military rule. Despite the obstacles, she persevered, and Concord played a crucial role in the fight for democracy in Nigeria. Although the long-term damage from the military's prolonged closure of the paper and the lack of advertising due to political pressures ultimately led to its downfall. Following the death of her husband in 1998 and the subsequent closure of Concord Press, Doyinsola persisted in her attempts to elevate African journalism. For 10 years, from 1999 to 2009, she was a member of the judging panel for the CNN African Journalists Awards, even taking on the role of chairperson. Her work with the CNN African Journalist Awards helped shine a light on often neglected African narratives and journalists across various media, including print, television, radio, photography, and digital platforms. Full circle, 40 years after her career-defining column, Tiro, Doyinsola resumed writing Sunday with Dr. Abiola, a weekly column for Punch newspapers, addressing pressing social and political matters. Throughout Doyinsola's remarkable journey as a journalist, she garnered numerous accolades, such as the Wole Soyinka Award for Journalistic Excellence, the Diamond Award for Media Excellence Dame Lifetime Achievement Award, and the This Day Award for Excellence. Throughout her life, Doyinsola's passion for nation building remained strong, with a particular focus on fostering youth development in her later years. She was a member of the Board of Trustees of the Chrysalis Youth Foundation, a non-governmental organization accredited by the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award Foundation. Beyond professional accomplishments and community contributions, she was a loving mother, grandmother, and sister. August 5, 2025, at the age of 82, the Lord called Doyinsola home. She is survived by her daughter, Doyinsola Abiola Tobun, her son-in-law, Oluwabamiche Tobun, her two sisters, Yabode and Ronke Aboaba, and her grandchildren, Oluwamunumido and Oluwafemishore Tobun.
Can we celebrate a life of impact, ladies and gentlemen? I wonder why they didn't mention about mommy's very classy, chic, fashionista. You know, mommy always gives them not very, very, very cute. I remember, so fun fact, the late Dr. Mrs. Abiola was the very first person that took me to the city of Dubai. My very first time traveling to Dubai was Doyin and Bamishe's wedding, and we had there was so much drama. But she was calm through it all, always smiling. So I caution now. Listen. Oh, in the midst of the greatest storms, this woman, where we were losing our head, how will we do this? How will we do this? She was just the voice of reason, voice of calm. Always, always, never under pressure. And that's the kind of woman we're celebrating today. But ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'm going to open the floor for some tributes. And this first set of tributes are people who know her well, who also have very intimate relationship with her, who some of them you can say they are daughters or mentees or colleagues. I'm going to start with the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole. Please a round of applause for her.
Good afternoon, good evening, Your Excellencies. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to rest on the earlier adumbrated protocols. This is a tribute to my godmother, Dr. Doyinsola Abiola, Auntie Doyin and my mother, Mrs. Folashade Olumide, were best friends while they were at Queen's College and remained friends for life. The gift of time. As a little girl, my first pair of gold earrings were a gift from my godmother. It was one item in a package of other child-friendly gifts that I can't remember now, but my mom kept them safe until I was older and could appreciate the thoughtful gesture. I still have those earrings till today. That level of intentionality and investment in a girl under 10 years old says it all. Auntie Doying was an extremely intentional person. As I grew older, in my university days especially, I took to driving to Ikeja unannounced to visit her from time to time. When I think of it now, I wonder how she made the time. If she was home, she would take time to see me in the middle of her day and have long, patient conversations with me about life. Her life, my life, the choices we make, lessons from things happening around us, everything, like I was a real adult. Then I would most certainly always leave with something dainty, often perfume or some other nice feminine item. When I was planning to get married, I said to my parents that naturally, I would like my godmother to chair our wedding reception. She was the only choice for us, and she took the role with great pride. I remember she bought us our first fridge freezer and had it delivered to our marital home. Time passed, and the visits continued in Doyinsola and Bamishe's home. Auntie, you told me many, many life stories. We discussed many things that no one else would or could tell me. Now, as a real adult, you spoke to me intimately about yourself, about marriage, your career, about money, power, influence, politics, children, society, name it. In 2015, when I was first appointed as an aide in the office of the Vice President, my boss was here, you told me frankly that married women run a risk to their marriages when they move to Abuja. But you were blunter than this. But that warning never left me till today. Auntie, thank you for all those visits and those mostly one-on-one conversations. You extended your warmth and openness to my husband too. You were always so, so proud of me and always told me that I was like you. Every landmark in my life, especially my career, you celebrated like you always knew I could and would achieve. You loved pouring from your wealth of experience into me, and I listened and listened and learned. Over the years, what I enjoyed most about my godmother were those conversations. I will cherish them forever. Rest in peace, Auntie. You did well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minister. The next speaker is none other than the chairman of Ovation Media Group, Chief Dele Momodu. Please, a round of applause for him.
Good evening. I will skip the protocol because I've been given only 3 minutes. I will start by thanking Doyin and her husband for inviting me to speak. I wasn't going to say anything, but she said, no, for mommy, it would be nice if you come. Mine are snippets of my moments with her. The first thing I would like to say is a big thank you to Iya Paper. Please, a big round of applause to Iya Paper. That title is not original to me. The patent for that title belongs to Chief Mrs. Adebisi Abiola. Please, a big round of applause for her. They lived across each other at Daddy's house on Doyinsola Street, and I used to navigate my way. Daddy had told me that if you must be a polygamist, you must be a competent polygamist. So if you must be a son of a competent polygamist, then you must know how to navigate and meander in the home of a polygamist. So we'll start from upstairs, go to mommy's apartment, Alaja Kudrat, then come to Chief Bisi Abiola, and then finally to Iya Paper, who was my boss at Concord. I came to Lagos in 1988 in search of greener pastures, if I can borrow that cliche. And I was desperate for a job. I had studied Yoruba for my first degree, and I couldn't get a job even as a teacher. And my mother was wondering if I wanted to become a babalawo, or why would I go to a university and study Yoruba. Then I went back to do a master's in literature in English. I still couldn't get a job. And my mother was wondering if witches and wizards were after me from my father's village in Edo State. But fortunately, one thing led to the other, and a friend of mine of blessed memory, Onukaba Dinoyojo, said I should try Concord. Then I went to Concord, reluctantly, because that time, what people used to say about Abiola is, oh, he's an Islamic fundamentalist, and that's why it's not good to listen to rumors. So reluctantly, because I didn't have a job, I accepted the job in May 1988. But Dr. Doyin Abiola knew how to spot talents. By the time I started in May, in February, I got a call from Mr. Doyinsola that I was being transferred to a weekend paper. I said, me, a scholar? I'm almost doing a PhD. They said, yes. He said, Dr. Doyin Abiola insisted they must pick me amongst those who will start the weekend Concord. I had no choice. I went. And then I wrote the first cover. The second cover, we started in March 1989. You will not believe it. Dr. Doyinsola Abiola will call my editor, Maka Winfa, and say, look, don't let that guy run away. Oh. He's too good on your paper. Before I could say Jack Robinson, by May, 2 months after we started the paper, they promoted me, gave me double promotion, and I became a literary editor. 6 months after, news editor. Unfortunately, you know, when you write so fast, you also reach your dead end so quickly. So we had Maka Winfa as editor. We had Dingba Igwe of blessed memory as deputy. As news editor, I was now number 3. There was nowhere else for me to go because my editor told me, unless you kill us, you are going nowhere. So eventually, Mayor Lynn Ezekiel, also of blessed memory, came to poach me from Concord. I couldn't tell my chairman, Chief Abiola. So I went to Dr. Abiola and I said, Mommy, I want to leave Concord. He said, why? She said, why? I said, because I've already reached my peak and my editors are saying unless I kill them, I cannot get any further promotion. To cut a long story short, the only question she asked me that day was, Dele, are you sure you can edit a magazine? I said, yes, ma'am. He said, then I wish you well. Any other selfish publisher or managing director would have discouraged me. She never did. And then when I was going to have my first child, I'm just going to give you a few snippets. I realized that we didn't have telephones in those days. So my wife was in England and it was during the June 12 crisis. So I used to go to her apartment to go and receive calls. Can you believe how far we have come in Nigeria? We used to go there, and when my first child was born, she was the first to announce to me that a child has been born to my family. There is no way I can ever forget that. Then when I opened my restaurant in Ghana, I just called her, and you won't believe it, she traveled all the way to Ghana. She was always showing me love. We discussed every issue. When Daddy was in detention, the first time that she received a note from Daddy from prison, she called me and said, Daddy said I should come to Gashua prison disguised to come and see him. Unfortunately, on my way to Gashua, I was told they've moved him, and I never saw Daddy again. So Bomi was totally committed to her husband and to Nigeria. Our role in June 12 has not been properly documented. So I hope that Doyin will make every effort to document her role, because she was an intellectual powerhouse. Thank you so much for this opportunity as I head out of here to go to Ghana for a wedding tonight. Thank you so much.
Bob D. If Bob D was not my Egmore, that I know very well, I would have probably suggested that that trip he was supposed to make to Gashua, it was somehow intentional that he did not go. Because the average person, and they say come and visit somebody even in the police detention, you just start remembering the things that you yourself have done. Let it not be that you're going to go and visit somebody and they hold you back. Permit me to quickly acknowledge and welcome former Governor of Ogun State and the former First Lady, Senator Ibikunle Amusu and Mrs. Olufunse Amusu. You're most welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Please, a round of applause for them. All right, coming up next with our own tributes as the founder of Tiffany Amber Fashion Group, this is Folake Akindele. Another of Mommy's daughters, mentees.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellencies, please allow me to rest on existing protocol. Auntie Doyin was more than an icon to me. She was family, a constant reminder of what it means to live with purpose and grace. From my earliest memories, when she walked through the doors of Tiffany Amber, she carried herself with a quiet strength that made you sit up straighter in her presence. She never needed to raise her voice, even when we would upset her to no end. Her brilliance, her elegance, and her compassion did all the speaking. I remember sitting with her as a young woman, nervous at the paths I wanted to take in life. She would look at me in the eye, smile that knowing smile, and tell me, Folake, the world is yours to shape. Never dim your light. Those words stayed with me. They gave me courage in my personal and my professional life, especially when things seemed daunting. And they continue to echo in my heart even now. Auntie Doyin was a pioneer, yes. The first Nigerian woman to rise to the very top of a national newspaper, a voice of truth in turbulent times, a woman who broke many barriers so others could walk freely. But to me, she was that special woman who checked in quietly, a role model that showed me that power and femininity were not opposites, and a woman who embodied dignity no matter what the storm. She supported me not just as Folake the designer, but Folake the person, encouraging, challenging, and constantly reminding me of my worth. I never forget the times that she would come and sit in the audience at my shows, not needing to say much, but her presence alone was a blessing. I met her lovely daughter, Doyin, who became my dear Aburo, I struggled for years to call her Doyin. As we say in Yoruba, oh, wole no mi. And it's only recently, in the past 2 weeks or so, that I started calling her Doyin. Thank you, Doyin, for sharing her with us. Her legacy in Nigerian journalism will be studied and celebrated. But for those of us who knew her closely, her true legacy is the love, wisdom, and courage she poured into us. Auntie Doyin, thank you for being a lighthouse in my life and in the lives of so many. You always live in my heart. You ran your race gracefully and beautifully. Rest well.
Thank you very much. To round off this first set of tributes, I'm going to invite, with all the pleasure that I can muster, Miss Ibukun Abidoye. Please a round of applause for her. Also want to acknowledge, there's so many people, but Uncle, the one we call Uncle Sam, even at the age of 90, is still regarded as Uncle Sam, a father of journalism. Thank you so much for coming, Uncle Sam. Also, Mr. Ndukau Bagbena, you're most welcome, sir. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me stand on existing protocol established by the MC. I'm very honored to be here. I'm a very good friend of Abiola, Doyinsola Abiola, and I'll just be speaking a little bit from my perspective as Doyin's friend who saw such a powerful woman and had the opportunity to learn from her. I may be several years younger than Mrs. Doyinsola Abiola, but ever since I can remember, I always felt the weight and the warmth of her presence. Being friends with her daughter, Doyinsola Abiola Tobun, has been one of the greatest privileges of my life. I was able to sit with a woman who shaped her, a woman many longed for an audience with, but I got every now and then for free. Some of my fondest memories of her are when I will go to Doyin Bamishe's house after work to wait out the traffic, because I lived in Adini Jones and she lived on the island and I worked on the island. And I would go to their house after work and I would wait out traffic and sit with them at dinner. And we would talk about anything and everything. And she would sit with us. Often she would walk down with an iPad or a book in her hand because she loved to read. And she would slip into the conversation with a kind of ease that made everyone feel at home. She never spoke to fill silence. When she spoke, it was very thoughtful. It was measured, sometimes humorous because she had a good sense of humor. But it was always laced with a kind of wisdom that made you introspective. Interestingly, I never really understood how legendary she was until the news of her passing became public. To me, she was just Doyinsola's mom. I admire how she lived in that balance, deeply rooted in her own world, deeply influential, but yet still a mother, always willing to reach into ours. Watching her with Doyin Bamishe, I saw not just a mother, but a woman whose strength and gentleness shaped the atmosphere around her. Those evenings taught me as much about love and family as any lecture in a book. Mrs. Abiola had lived a life that spanned eras, some of which I lived in, but had no real understanding of as a child. Yet she spoke to me in a way that felt present, immediate, and timeless. On the one hand, she held deep secrets of a very tumultuous season in our nation's history, and on the other, she spoke to me about workplace dynamics, social media, and gender roles. Things that, in retrospect, were probably quite trivial compared to the major national politics that she that underscored our daily lives, yet many of us knew nothing about. Though our ages were far apart, she made me feel at home. She encouraged me to ask questions, to challenge myself, to see beyond the limitations of time. She validated my truth. That generosity of spirit, of taking someone younger under her wing without judgment, is a gift I will always cherish. I am honored to have known her, even in the small ways that I did, and through her daughter, my dear friend Didi. I know her light, her strength, and her quiet grace will keep shining through you. Rest well, Ma. Your story will live on, not just through Doyinsola, but in the countless lives that you touched across generations. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. All right. At this point, I'd like to recognize and acknowledge Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented here this afternoon by the Secretary to the Government of Lagos State, Barrister Abiola Salu Onde. Thank you so much, the First Lady, and you're most welcome, the SSG. Thank you. All right. So one thing about Mommy is that Mommy also loved music. She loved music. She loved the arts, basically, with a background in dramatic arts, obviously. But she loved a good praise and worship. She wasn't just all about writing. She loved to praise God. She loved listening to music. And in her own way, she enjoys dancing in her own way. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to relive some of Mommy's favorite songs, praise and worship song, please welcome the amazing ministry of my brother, BJ Sachs. Don't worry. At this point, I'm going to ask that we all write Mommy's by dancing. With some style.
Yeah.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for PJ Sachs. Hallelujah. All right. I can see that we've loosened up a bit. All right, so to take us into more fond tributes, we're going to another session of fond tributes. This one, particularly those who worked in the trenches with Mommy back in the days. And the very first person I'll be inviting is a seasoned journalist, environmentalist, former commissioner for the environment, Lagos State. By this time, when he was in office, he was always wearing boots and clearing gutters and making sure that the drainages are through. He's now the Chief Executive Officer and the Executive Chairman of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Agency. Please make welcome Mr. Tunji Bello.
Can you see this? I've turned it on. I've turned it on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, please permit me to stay on the existing protocol. Almost 2 months after my youth service in 1985, I was employed as a staff writer in Concord. Dr. Abiola was then the editor-in-chief and managing director. My first 4 years, I never had much personal encounter with her. At best, I met her on the board of directors corridor, while on my way to the library and while going through foreign papers. She has sent to relevant departments on which she will write for your edification. Unknowingly, she was one of those great managers, always on the lookout for the upcoming talents and good hands, just by reading various news and feature stories. Some of us got promoted within a few years without knowing she was instrumental. My first main meeting with her will happen in June 1989, when she summoned me to her office and said the management was considering appointing me as the group political editor. But some members of the management thought I was too young for such a position. I was just about 28 years old at that time. When I asked her to give me a trial, she was impressed with my response. And with many milestones we attained at that time, I became closer to her. Apart from acting as a role model to upcoming editorial executives and reporters, she was a great innovator, always keeping us ahead of other newspapers. She was one of the first media employers to embrace information technology and got most of our staff to embrace it in order not to be left behind. Each time you entered our office, as in the 90s, you found Dr. Abiola always on her laptop. She was the one that revolutionized the Saturday newspapers. Much has been said about that. As is the weekend paper that will be different from the normal daily, as we used to have, with the advent of Weekend Concord, which became Concord's best national seller at that time, before the rival publications followed. The newspaper's empire she presided over was truly national, as Concord publications were the first to reach the nook and cranny of Nigeria. She was instrumental to the employment of some of the best professionals in the country in the stable. The surprising thing that merged with Dr. Abiola was a sudden interest in politics. During the preparation for Basharon MK Abiola's election on June 12, 1993, she saw her mobilization ability on display. She was able to rally around her own constituency, different professionals, and several other community leaders she could contact across the country to ensure her husband won the election. The remarkable moment was when the election was annulled and the Concord group of newspaper was shut down. She quickly floated another newspaper by calling later Laji Latif Jakon, the former governor of Lagos State, in order to borrow a title from his stable. The paper was called The Daily News, and I was made the editor until the ban on Concord Group was lifted by the Babangida regime, before it was shut down again by late General Sani Abacha. Sorry. The second closure of Concord by the military created another challenge requiring new thinking. There was no need to float another newspaper. She created an underground group to link up with the pro-democracy movements, both at home and abroad. The editor of our distorted newspaper, then Mr. Dele Alake, the Shegun Babatokwe, chairman of our editorial board, and myself, as group political editor, were the only members from Concord, linking up with civil society movements at home and abroad. The concerned professionals, with the likes of Professor Patu Tomi and Litunde Akinleye, political and civil rights actors like our current president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Professor Wole Soyinka, and later Alao Akaba Shoron, and late Beko Rason Kuti, among others. As Professor Olatunji once reminded us in his memorable tribute to her, Dr. Abiola was the intellectual face of the struggle, the discreet mobilizer who maintained and used effectively a network of influential persons in Nigeria and abroad. She brought to this task accurate political intelligence, a cosmopolitan outlook, steely disposition, and mastery of the emerging communication technology. I also recollect at that time how our wonderful daughter, Doyin, would often come back from her secondary school, the Atlantic Hall in those days, in the evenings, meeting us in her mom's sitting room, either holding meetings with some groups or faxing some subversive documents to political exiles abroad. All she would say to us while leaning down is, "Good afternoon, uncle," and to her room she goes. It was really a very challenging moment of struggles, pains, invading security, monitoring, and threats. Those were the challenging periods and moments up to the painful death of her husband, Bashorem Abiola, that Auntie Doyin had to pass through. She herself has painfully escaped assassination in her living room. Went through the almighty grace. She suddenly shifted her position when the bullet struck. Lastly, let me quickly inform the distinguished mourners present of some of the long-time lessons which those of us who have been with her have learned from her noble teachings while working. Most fundamental was that she would always say, always stand for something. Always stand for something. This is philosophical, particularly for those privileged in holding leadership positions or called upon to be vanguard of public conscience, like newspapers and public institutions. Because when you are asked to deliver a public good, your conscience matters. She reminded us, just like Otman Dafodio once preached, conscience is an open wound. Only the truth can heal it. So may I say to our humble and gracious daughter, may your days be long. May you be accomplished. May your children be greater than you. Thank you.
Applause for Mr. Tunji. Thank you so much for those kind words. Once again, on behalf of the entire Abiola family, I welcome everyone. All those who came in a bit late, thank you so much for coming, regardless of, whenever you got in here. The family appreciates your presence. We're currently taking our second set of tributes, and the next speaker will be also one of those who worked very closely with Mommy by virtue of his position as the founding editor of the Weekend Concord, and went on to do amazing things with that paper. He's also now the founding MD and the editor-in-chief of the Sun newspapers, though he's retired but still on the board. Please welcome Mr. Mike Awunyinfa. A round of applause for him.
Good evening, Your Excellencies, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we gather here to honor and bid farewell to an icon of Nigerian journalism, Dr. Doyinsola Abiola, a woman who changed lives, shaped careers, and redefined the possibilities of the Nigerian press. For me, this is deeply personal. Dr. Abiola was more than a boss. She was a destiny helper. She took a risk on me, a young features editor who had just come over from Sunday Concord, where I was groomed by the famous Delegiwa, and entrusted me with her brainchild, a Saturday newspaper that will become a trailblazer in Nigerian journalism. She had traveled abroad and she had this brainwave that, you know, there should be a paper, a Saturday paper, you know, that could, you know, compete with the Sunday paper. And I still remember when she came back that day, and she called me into her office over 3 decades ago, when she said, "Mike, I have a brainwave. A Saturday-only newspaper, lively, different, and exciting. Give me a dummy." Well, I came back with a prototype of what the paper would look like. And that was the beginning of Weekend Concord, the paper that sets the new standard, forcing every other newspaper to follow our lead. Clap for me. If I have to talk about Weekend Concord, I will spend the whole day, the whole night talking. I'll be so emotional, but let me try as much as possible to capture it in 3 minutes or at least 5 minutes. Biko. When he chose me as the editor of Sunday Weekend Concord, you know, some people told her, like they told Tunji Bello, that I was young.
Who is like you, Lord? One more time, sing. Who is like you, oh Lord? Who is like you? Who is like you, oh Lord? Who is like you? Wait up for you are. Wait up for you are. Hey. No words can carry. Who is like you, oh Lord? Who is like you? You are worthy, oh Lord. You are worthy. You are worthy, Lord. You are worthy, oh Lord. You're worthy. The depths of who you are. Eyes, no eyes have seen it. You are worthy, oh Lord. You are worthy, you are worthy, Lord. You are worthy, you are
Ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for the Lagos City Choir.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, the late Abiola was the patron of Lagos City Chorale at inception in 1988, and she was there for us for about 5 years, maybe until 1994 thereabouts. So these songs we are singing are also chosen by Abiola, the daughter, and I'm just going to do one more. I will leave for now.
This song is here, and we know our God is here. So I implore for everybody to stand up when you feel like.
Unfortunately, please, I crave your indulgence. Okay. We are running a very tight program, so we will come back when you're doing the next one. We'll do this song. I apologize, sir. Please, a round of applause for the Lagos City Choral. Like I said, good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we're running a very tight program. We don't want to keep people here longer than necessary. They will still be coming back for their second performance. Maybe we'll slot that in. Let me quickly welcome Mr. Governor, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Doyinsola. Thank you very much for coming. On behalf of the Abiolas, we say thank you. Also acknowledge and welcome Her Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Ogun State, Engineer Noimot Salakoye Dele, FNSE. You're most welcome. Also joining us is the Honorable Minister for Solid Minerals, Dr. Dele Alake. You're most welcome, sir. Thank you very much for coming. Interestingly, Dr. Alake is pretty much like family as well. We'll be getting into that. But before then, let us take the first Bible reading for today, and it will be done by Mr. Tosan Sule. Mr. Tosan Sule will do the honors of the first Bible reading. Please welcome him with a round of applause.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. The reading for today is taken from the book of Psalms, Psalm 34, verse 1 to 3. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make its boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear it and be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. May the Lord bless the reading of his word.